Awesome. It looks like a few more people have joined us. We can go ahead and get started. So if you didn't hear me introduce myself already, my name's Jasmine Schmank, and I'm the moderator today. I wanted to explain just a couple of things to you, and then I'll get out of your hair. So if you have any questions or feedback for your presenter, you can go ahead and utilize the chat, and it'll be shared at a convenient time. And if you need anything specific during the session, you can send a direct message to me. So that's all I have for you. I'm going to turn it over to our presenter, Miranda Evans. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, hi, I'm Miranda Evans. I have a few other people here with me too, but first we're just going to start with sharing our screen. Let's see. Okay. Welcome to our presentation, From Crying to Communicating, a school team's journey supporting a nonverbal student. We are from Perrysburg Schools, located in Perrysburg, Ohio, and our school is Fort Meigs Elementary School. These are some of our objectives for our presentation today. I'm Miranda Evans, the intervention specialist, and here's my team.
Hi, I'm Samantha Horseman.
Chelsey Marschall, occupational therapist.
And Peyton Sweeny, a paraprofessional at Fort Meigs.
So let me introduce you to Shiv. Shiv is a 10-year-old Cleveland native who is nonverbal and has autism. He currently resides with his family in Perrysburg, Ohio. He enjoys spending time with his mom, dad, his brother Jay, his grandmother, and many neighbors and friends. He loves sorting objects, playing with pens and music. He also enjoys spinning and going up and down slides, both inside and out. In 2022, LAMP was introduced to Shiv. He quickly mastered and picked up new motor patterns and began to communicate his wants and needs with his new voice. Shiv now attends Whole Prairie Intermediate School in Perrysburg, Ohio, and is in 5th grade. He is still working on building his trust with staff and using his voice to express himself. He is important, capable, and loved by many for who he is. We are here today to talk with you about Shiv's journey at our school. He arrived to us as a student with nonverbal autism, and he had never been in a school setting before. Shiv presented with challenging behaviors, and we had to rethink how to support him in our classroom. The two most observed behaviors included aggressive behaviors, where he would intentionally attempt to harm others, and self-injurious behaviors, where he would intentionally harm himself. We began to review and research the current evidence-based practices for students with autism. We acknowledge his limits with participation were due to his behaviors. We needed to determine the function to develop the right supports.
We have a video example of Shiv's behaviors. It'll take a minute to load. Sorry, guys. This was a common behavior Shiv would use to communicate in her classroom. A common self-injurious behavior included Shiv poking his eyes, biting his lip, and prior to the video, he attempted to grab a staff member. Shiv would also engage in hair pulling, lunging at staff, grabbing staff's clothes, hair, jewelry, and he would scratch and hit staff members frequently. Shiv would also hit himself to the point of bleeding multiple times a day. He would bang his mouth, nose, and continuously poke his eyes out the most. Shiv would also be visibly upset and have staff would have to back away. He would continue hurting himself or trying to hurt others. Often it became unsafe for staff to work with him. Anytime work was presented or someone new came in his space, he would start engaging in these behaviors. You can notice in the picture on the slide, he is visibly upset, and prior to this picture being taken, he was hitting himself in the head repeatedly. Some additional behaviors included difficulty entering the school building. He would make it to the door and then sit in the corner of the hallway, attempting to bang his head against the wall. Some days, the entire transition to our classroom was Shiv crawling on the ground, stopping every couple feet to bang his head against a locker. Shiv would also lay on the floor and scream, whine, and cry for minutes to hours on end. To address these challenging behaviors, we started by analyzing his behavior through a communication lens. By believing that all behavior is communication, we found that Shiv is trying to communicate with us in numerous ways. We began to research interventions and strategies to put in place to support Shiv. Through this communication lens, we found that Shiv was communicating with us through his behavior. Looking at when he would partake in self-injurious behaviors, oftentimes the task was challenging for him and caused him to become more frustrated. He was also seeking deep pressure while banging and squeezing his head. When he would act aggressively towards staff, staff would have to back away, which is what we believe he wanted. He just was not able to request a break by asking, so he would do this with behavior. When he was refusing to transition, we realized that he did not trust people he did not know or have a relationship with. He often would only transition with his preferred staff member or when his preferred songs were being played. By looking at this behavior through a communication lens, we were able to see that all staff needed to begin to build a relationship with Shiv, a caring, supportive, understanding relationship where Shiv felt safe. We believe that all behavior is communication, as the behavior that he portrayed after 8 weeks of transition refusal was eloping throughout the classroom. Sometimes we think he wanted to go look out the other windows. Other times he maybe was interested in something he saw. Maybe it was a person, object, or item. Or maybe he was looking for his mom's car. Whatever it was, he would elope with a smile on his face. On the slide, you'll notice one of Shiv's favorite toys that he referred to as dog toy. Shiv would press the buttons on the toy, and some make noises and others say words. On this, one of the buttons says hello. We noticed that when this word was played, he would lock eyes with a staff member. We believe that he was trying to say hello with this preferred toy. This was often a toy Shiv went to when he entered the classroom.
After determining what his behavior was telling us, we decided that we needed to develop interventions and strategies to teach replacement behaviors and build his communication skills. We began to look at the ziggurat model from Ruth Aspey. When the sensory system is calm, reinforcement is available, the environment is made predictable through structure and visual supports, and task demands are carefully designed, skills can be effectively taught and learned in a school program. Our team focused on developing a program for Shiv that incorporated these components of the ziggurat model by Ruth Aspey. As we continue to talk about Shiv, you will see how we refer back to these 7 main points. We started with increasing his sensory supports. We began to identify reinforcers, and we created a predictable schedule for him. We set up a structured day with high expectations and opportunities for building his self-confidence. We developed visual supports to aid in his understanding of the day. We developed a communication system using an iPad and lamp, carefully modified lessons to reach him at his level of development, prioritized skills to effectively teach Shiv, and focus on his social-emotional growth. Lastly, our team collaborated to develop consistency for him. Our goal then became to decrease his maladaptive behaviors and increase his ability to engage with others and participate in our school curriculum.
Increasing Shiv's participation with sensory interventions and strategies became very important right away because Shiv's body was dysregulated often. A challenging aspect of trialing the interventions and tracking the effectiveness of the sensory supports was that Shiv was very hesitant to try and explore these new activities or items presented to him. As a team, we knew we needed to meet his sensory needs in order for him to be an active learner. And it was a huge team effort to continue to explore, attempt, and provide sensory input for Shiv. We scheduled sensory breaks approximately every 45 minutes with adult support, which could include sensory input in the classroom and also in our school sensory room. Breaks included walks with a weighted backpack, exercises on a therapy ball, rocking in a rocking chair, jumping on a trampoline, using a sensory brush, a weighted lap pad, a head massager, and listening to calming music. Patience was important to remember to have with Shiv. It took him almost a month before he wanted to jump on the trampoline in the sensory room. He initially would just touch the trampoline, and then he progressed to standing, and then eventually he was jumping independently. We would play his favorite song on the iPad while he was in the sensory room to increase participation, and we would also have his familiar pairs attend with him. At times, he would revert back to not wanting to engage in the activity, and it was important to be patient and encouraging with Shiv during these times of refusals. Here are a few pictures and videos of Shiv participating in a variety of sensory supports and strategies. We explored multiple items with a trial and error approach and communicated often as team members to find items that were beneficial for him and that helped him regulate.
Pardon? Great job, Shiv. Work hard. I gotcha. Good job, Shiv. You're working hard, friend. Good. Keep going. Good job. Oh. Get back up. There you go.
Finding the right reinforcements for Shiv was very important. First, we collaborated with Mrs. Patel, his mom, to find interests for Shiv. Next, we scheduled free play to find reinforcers with toys, sensory items, and songs already in use in our classroom. Lastly, we structured free play with all staff members to build relationships with and trust with Shiv. Eventually, working in conjunction with his general education teacher, 1 to 3 students would be sent down from his classroom to interact with Shiv for 10 to 15 minutes every day. This included blowing bubbles, spraying a water bottle, interacting with cause and effect toys and switches. By providing Shiv this opportunity to safely play and interact with his peers, he began to trust students and staff at our school. In the next video, you will see that he loved tickles, which was an immediate reinforcement for him. As well as working with his peers, he loved when his friends would clap for him.
Good job.
A consistent, predictable schedule created an environment where Shiv always knew what was coming next. Shiv knew who would be with him every part of his day. Shiv made the connection that after he worked with Miss Peyton, then he would work with Miss Sam, and after Miss Sam, he would work with Mrs. Evans, and then he would get to go home. This predictable schedule allowed for us to gradually fold in new skills and generalize the skills across staff. It also helped our staff knowing where to be when. Here is the visual schedule of staff working with him that we tried to incorporate for him. At the end, he would have a visual of going home. On the left, we have Miss Peyton, a paraprofessional, Mrs. Evans, the intervention specialist, Miss Sam, a paraprofessional, Mrs. Miller, his speech pathologist, Dr. Marschall, his occupational therapist, and Mr. Bob, his adaptive PE teacher. I tried to include everyone who Shiv would be working with in his day. In my classroom, there are 7 other students as well as Shiv. I created this schedule for Shiv and for the staff to easily know what Shiv should be doing throughout his day. Even with the unpredictability in a school, I tried to make Shiv's day as consistent and predictable for him as possible. At this time, Shiv was challenged to walk down to his homeroom class to say hello to his teacher and appear each morning. Shiv loves songs, so we incorporated months of the year, days of the week songs into his morning meeting time. Next, every morning, Shiv would work on using his device for high preference items to build up his comfort and increase his ability to request and use his communication device. Then Shiv was able to take a rest or a sensory break in the classroom, and then he moved on to his math block. When creating schedules for my students and classroom, my goals included creating routines and building independence for all of my students. The classroom is designed to run on routine and positive reinforcement. Even if I am not present for the day, the classroom needs to continue to run smoothly. Here, you can see Shiv had a bathroom break and staff was provided time to type in the data. Next, he went to the sensory room. Eventually, this became a preferred time of the day, and we used this time of the day to transition new staff into working with him. The last activity you will see here is a focus on play skills for him, which also included his occupational therapy and speech time. Here, you will see we began to work on life skills with Shiv. For him, this included eating a snack and drinking water. Next, we began to expose Shiv to the bathroom. At the start of the year, he was not previously introduced to any stages of toilet training. Then we worked on exposing him to some ELA topics, which included matching the alphabet, using his name stamp, and listening to a phonics song, as well as a weekly story. Shiv ended his day with taking a break and walking through the cafeteria. For Shiv, we needed to create structure. We did this by implementing rules for Shiv and creating a crisis intervention and emergency procedures plan. Our first rule for Shiv was regarding his self-injurious behaviors. When he would engage in this behavior, we would remove the task and provide some wait time. After some time, we then would model how to protest on his communication device. When Shiv would push a task away, we again would remove the items, provide the wait time, and then model how to protest on his communication device. For intensive episodes of maladaptive behavior, we would direct Shiv to a safe space and begin de-escalation strategies by providing sensory input or giving him space and time. Sometimes this included simply playing calming music for him. We continued to build structure by providing him a consistent schedule, setting high expectations, and following routines. By doing this, we were able to create an environment where Shiv could succeed. Creating the environment for him to master a skill was crucial to his development and self-confidence. We broke down tasks into smaller steps and chunks and developed a structure for introducing new topics to Shiv in a manner he enjoyed and lessons he wanted to participate in. One skill we wanted to teach Shiv right away was how to sit in a chair at a workstation without his Big Joe beanbag chair, screaming or crying. By replacing his Big Joe with a small desk and a regular student chair, this provided Shiv with more physical support, and this increased his ability to attend to instruction. We also differentiated between work areas and break areas with some visual supports.
Visuals were a key piece to Shiv's success. We tried countless different supports for him. Sometimes he would push them away, and other times he would seek them out. It was important to always have them available. Some of the visuals we used were a large visual schedule in a binder, a first then board, mini schedules, visual puzzles, and we used a PEX book with different visuals. We developed visuals for behavior expectations such as first work, then break. These large visuals were placed in Shiv's work areas to support his understanding of work time and break time. Here we have a visual strip of desk work expectations. This was always used with Shiv when he was completing work at his desk. We started with Shiv matching these pictures in a book for daily morning work. Each picture was paired with a social script of what Shiv can do. For example, him sitting in a chair at a desk was paired with a social script of, I can sit at my desk. These pictures started off as real-life pictures of Shiv doing the expected behaviors, and over time, we transitioned him to these board maker visuals. We also used quiet voice, calm hands, and sit visuals to assist Shiv with behavior expectations, especially as he transitioned into working into groups with his peers. Lastly, we began to expose Shiv to our PBIS program of the Jacket Way by teaching him the 3 R's of respectful, responsible, and ready. When Shiv arrived at our school, he was using a PEX book with picture visuals some of the time, but was mainly grabbing his mother's hand to pull her where he wanted to go. His communication was limited, and he would not use his book with us at school. Here are some visuals of what his book looked like when he arrived.
We then added in Big Mac switches, where we built his understanding of cause and effect. We put these in place for Shiv to request a break and say yes or no to tasks. Shiv needed a way to protest doing something other than engaging in maladaptive behaviors. The break button had a visual on top of it that we used in our classroom for break. Then the yes button had the word yes in green letters on the top, and the no button had the word no in red letters on top. At first, Shiv would not touch the buttons. We always had the break button out during instructional times. When Shiv would start engaging in a behavior, we would model, then gradually prompt him to use the button. We then provided what he asked for after he pushed the button. Our goal was teaching him that his words have meaning and power. Finally, after responding to photos and the Big Mac switches, our SLP introduced him to LAMP. This is a picture of full LAMP. We did not start using full LAMP at first. We started with a few select words and pictures. Each week, we wrote words down on our whiteboard to have our SLP add. And eventually we were adding so many words each week that the team decided to open his device up to the full version of LAMP.
When looking at his exposure to educational materials, we had items we needed to consider. First, we needed to look at the time it takes for him to master new skills. It's much greater in length than his typical peers. We then looked at making things have meaning to him and in his life. When selecting specific tasks for him to complete, we had to look at his school readiness skills. We needed to teach the specific breakdown of his day, which included instructional time, break time, sensory opportunities, related service times, leisure time. We then needed to look at what skills he would need to master for the rest of his life to increase his independence and increase his quality of life. This included engagement skills, comprehension skills, social skills, leisure skills, and choice making. Next, we looked at modifying task. We started a task analysis of each skill we wanted him to master. Once he successfully completed each step, we then worked on fading supports to increase his independence of the task. Our goal was to make activities meaningful, useful, and purposeful for Shiv. We focused on increasing his time with things he enjoyed, as well as challenging him to experience new things, like coloring a worksheet, working with a peer on a number recognition activity, and playing games with his friends while participating in small groups. We also focused on building his comprehension of simple stories by using music, incorporating technology, and visuals for Shiv to reference. We started reading stories to him with visuals nearby, and then we worked on matching the visuals to the pictures in the book. Next, we began to challenge Shiv to independently match the visuals from a field of 2 and even a field of 3. We also found anytime we incorporated music, his engagement would increase. We found all of these books online and several in a song version. Shiv, to this day, will seek out the Brown Bear song we used for this matching activity.
We have videos taken early on in our time with Shiv when we realized his love for letter names and sounds. He would often gesture to your mouth when he wanted you to say what he had just heard. Shiv at this time was not yet able to request or identify any letters or sounds.
What? Yep. Which one? Oh, what do you want to do? Sit down. Oh. Thank you for telling me.
The highlight here is him reaching for his communication device. When Shiv reached this point of buying into the communication system we had presented, we knew we had entered a new stage of learning for him. The next video here, you will see him working on matching letters of his name and letter sounds, covering over options to create a field of 2 increased his success. By using the prompting hierarchy to support, he was then able to eventually match his own name, and providing positive reinforcements throughout the activity for him to maintain engagement was also important and crucial for success.
Let's go. Try again. Nice job. Oh, beautiful. Nice job. Is good.
With Shiv now willing to sit in a chair at a desk with a variety of staff members, we began to expose him to more and more academics. We have a video of him using his communication device where he counts to 10.
Three. 4, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
For Shiv, the transition from crying in the corner in his Big Joe chair to sitting at his desk and engaging in a math activity was a huge milestone for him. With LAMP, Shiv reached a new level of participation and engagement. Here in our first video, you will see Shiv is independently using his name stamp on his work. He also had independently colored the 3 worksheets, although it is not in the video.
Good job. Shiv.
In the second video, you see him participating in a phonics lesson again with 7 other peers around him. He then independently identifies the medial sound in a CBC word.
Blended? Yes. What's my middle sound in yes? You tell me.
For Shiv, the transition from crying in the corner in his Big Joe chair to sitting at the table with 7 peers and participating in our morning meeting, as well as our daily phonics lesson, was a huge milestone for him. The last video we have selected to show you is how skills can effectively be taught for students like Shiv. It is a 3-minute video of him demonstrating his letter sounds and knowledge.
What sound does M make? What sound does Q make? Try again. Try again. What sound does Q make? What sound does N make? N. Hip. What sound does R make? Hip. What sound does A make?
For time purposes, we did cut the video a little bit shorter for you guys, but for Shiv, the transition from crying in the corner in his Big Joe chair to sitting at the table and demonstrating his knowledge was a huge milestone. When Shiv first started with us, he was very afraid of going into the bathroom. After completing a task analysis, we were able to identify the steps necessary for him to begin toilet training. We gradually built upon each step. The first was to touch or hold the bathroom visual at the desk. Then we physically matched a bathroom visual to another bathroom visual on the wall near the bathroom. Then we moved the bathroom visual from outside of the bathroom wall and put it on the door. And then into the bathroom, we gradually were moving this further and further. We then progressed to touching the bathroom door and then the door handle. He then slowly started to enter the bathroom with 1 foot, then 2 feet, and then we eventually had Shiv standing at the sink and sitting at the toilet with his clothes on. Although we did not get him toilet trained, we laid the foundation for him to go into the restroom and start being comfortable in that environment. Each of these steps took weeks, and he became so comfortable in the bathroom that he would occasionally walk in and turn on and off the lights, spin around and jump and smile.
One of the components of the ziggurat model is task demand. We have to break the task down to determine the demands of the task and then determine what the student can do and build up from there. One of our goals for Shiv was to eat lunch at school. In order to have him do this, we first thought of the barriers. He has a fear of new spaces and a fear of being around large crowds. Then we thought of the positives. He loves when people clap and cheer for him. Some things we needed to consider is that he would need to be able to sit in a chair and not at his Big Joe beanbag chair. We needed him to eat and drink something in the classroom first before we took him into the cafeteria. Then we worked on walking into the cafeteria and exposing him to the environment slowly. Our starting point included he would only eat at home. His diet was very limited to homemade tortillas, and he would only drink water from a very specific Bear Cup bottle, which his parents would squirt into his mouth. Mrs. Evans wrote this social story for us to start reviewing the steps to having lunch at school, and we started working on Shiv eating and drinking at school. Here is a picture of the Bear Cup his mom would use. Each step, Shiv was getting closer and closer to actually drinking water at school. This was a huge accomplishment for him to drink out of the orange cup at school. This was a great skill for him to increase his independence in life.
By focusing on his social emotional skills, we were able to have Shiv learn how to sit in a chair, sit at a learning center, sit near a peer, name and identify peers, participate in turn taking, listen to a story with his peers, play in a group game, and go on a school bus. The end goal was for Shiv to be able to ride the bus and attend a minor league baseball game with his class. Our goal was reached when we focused on the social emotional skills. Additional resources we used to achieve the goal of attending the baseball game were video models, pictures of the stadium, social stories, countdown to the event. As you can see, Shiv has his favorite sensory item with him, the iPad. Shiv would often needed additional noise for calming and self-regulation. We were able to screen record his favorite calming song of Hey Bear Sensory Under the Sea, which we utilized often during this trip.
A huge component to a child's success at school includes the strength and importance of collaborating as a team. Our team included an intervention specialist, 4 paraprofessionals, an occupational therapist, 2 speech therapists, 1 APE teacher, and 2 general education teachers. Daily morning meetings with classroom staff, weekly check-ins with related services, and weekly updates were used to ensure we were all on the same page and were aware of Shiv's progress and needs. Expectations were high for Shiv across all settings, with consistent rules, expectations, and follow-through. We made sure to support each other and to always ask for help when we needed it. Staff and paraprofessionals were trained often by related service providers and would attend sessions to help with follow-through among all settings. Related service providers were also trained and communicated with often on behavior management techniques and strategies that were being implemented daily in the classroom. Shiv did become possessive of staff. It was important for all of us to rotate working with him to increase his ability to generalize his skills and be flexible and comfortable working with various adults. By the end of his time at Fort Meg, Shiv made progress with decreasing his maladaptive behaviors and made educational progress towards his individual education plan. Length of engagement did vary among staff, but this was a huge accomplishment for Shiv and his acceptance and trust working with adults.
What did we learn? We learned that all students are capable and patience is important. We also learned to set standards high, accept changes, stay open-minded, and have a growth mindset.
Lastly, we learned the importance of friendships. We learned to celebrate the small steps, for they are just as important as the big ones. Here is a picture of Shiv independently standing at a table using his name stamp to sign his friend's yearbook, all while a peer stands nearby and waits for his yearbook. Here's a picture of Shiv, who, when he started with us, would hide, cry, scream, hit, kick, and pinch others, to now standing in the center of our class with 7 peers around him and 4 staff members with him. Shiv is smiling, he is happy, and he's communicating with his friends.
During his first birthday with us, he was hiding in the corner when his class came to sing to him. Shiv was overwhelmed, overstimulated, and shutting down by crying, hitting, screaming, and hiding. During his second birthday with us, Shiv sat in the center of the whole group table with 7 peers around him and 4 staff members while he was smiling, laughing, and dancing as his class sang to him, "Happy birthday."
Our final video to show you is of Shiv's mom. With team collaboration and social emotional focus, careful planning, and the use of research-based interventions, a communication system, visual supports, a predictable schedule, structure, appropriate reinforcements, and calming his sensory system, we learned we were able to move Shiv from crying to communicating.
Hello, my name is Jignesha Patel, and I'm Shiv Patel's mother. Ever since we found out about Shiv's autism, our biggest challenge has been communicating with Shiv. We did start Shiv in early intervention and early therapies at a younger age. Initially, they started him with what's called the PECS book system, So their pictures attached to a folder, and anytime Shiv wanted something, he would have to pick out the picture and come and give it to us. He was doing really good with that. That was a good foundation that was built. Once he got to Fort Meigs, Mrs. Evan and her team introduced Shiv to AAC device with the lamp. And that has been a major milestone for Shiv. He's able to use that device and communicate his needs and wants really nicely. From both the mother and father's perspective, we are really happy, grateful, and appreciative to Miss Evan, her team, to Denise from O'Kelly for helping Shiv reach this big milestone in his life. He's able to communicate his needs and wants, and it's a voice for him. And we're really proud of him for achieving that goal. As a parent, I'm proud and happy to share Shiv's story with all of you guys. I am his voice. He is my heart. We love him dearly. It's been a lot of patience, hard work, repetition, and guidance from all the therapists, teachers, everyone involved in caring for Shiv. And we're just really grateful for everyone that has helped Shiv achieve this milestone and continue to do so for his future progress and skills. Thank you so much.
That concludes our presentation. If you have any questions, feel free to send them in the chat. Thank you for all your feedback so far. Oh, Samantha Courtney attended our presentation. Hello, Samantha Courtney. Thank you everyone for coming. Perrysburg proud.
That you were Perrysburg.
Yeah.
Yes, that was pretty good.
All right, since that concludes our presentation, congratulations to the presenters. You guys did a great job. If anybody is looking for directions, you'll want to leave this current Zoom meeting that you're in and click on a new meeting for the next session. So that's what you'll be doing. But if you don't have any questions, you can go ahead and do that.
Thank you so much.
Yep, absolutely. I'm glad it all worked out.
Thanks. I'm just going to take a picture of this chat here.
It looks like everybody left the chat. Oh, the chat,
yeah.
yeah.
Samantha Courtney is a colleague of mine's sister. So
oh, cool.
Yes, Perrysburg teacher too. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Congrats on the work you guys are doing.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.